So Fresno State really did what they needed to do against Southern. That was just completely dominate the football game. They looked like they should have looked, and I'll just read some statistics right here to really kind of prove it. Again, that's the case with the Bulldogs all year. The statistics just really, outside of Oregon State, showed a score. Bulldogs had 31 first downs. Southern had 7. Bulldogs had 507 total yards. Southern had 142. Bulldogs had 122 rushing yards. Southern had 11. Bulldogs had 282 passing yards. Southern had 131. And time possession was 334 for the Bulldogs, 25 minutes for Southern. Again, the Bulldogs did whatever they wanted. And there was a considered effort, as I mentioned before, by the Bulldogs to get E.J. Warner some passing touchdowns. And they did. He had easily his best game as a Bulldog, 20 for 24, 240 yards, 4 touchdowns. So good for him to get off that schneid. We also had some true freshmen get a touchdown like Harold Duvall, local kid, turned out some big offers to come stay at Fresno State, which, again, if you want to play in front of your friends and family, that's something that NIL, transfer portal, just can't buy for you. Just can't. So that's one advantage Fresno State has to try and keep the likes of Bryson Donaldson and Harold Duvall and so forth. Play up that ankle. Donaldson also had a big game, 9 carries, 30 yards, and a touchdown. Rashawn Speed-Luke had another touchdown. He actually led receiving with 7 receptions and for 92 yards. But as I mentioned before, I didn't really see anything in this game that'll make a defensive coordinator go, oh, wow, I need to stop this. Fresno State rushing game, first and foremost. I didn't really see that from Warner. They use the tight ends more, so maybe that's something another team will have to cover, but Fresno State is still a run-first team, and this is the first step for Warner becoming like a Marcus McMarrion. Okay, then that's effective, but, doing that against Southern really didn't impress me. The Bulldogs did what they had to do. It was an enjoyable game from the Bulldogs standpoint. You gave a standing ovation to the Southern marching band who deserved it. The Human Jukebox is amazing. The bottom line is this really doesn't tell us much, except the Bulldogs hopefully are executing better. I mean, they should have won the way they did, 56-7. Now, granted, other teams in the round west struggled against their FCS opponents. Colorado State should have lost to Northern Colorado if the refs didn't help them. Sac State blew a late lead over Nevada. So it's not always easy. You got to execute, and the Bulldogs did. But, again, let's see how they do against this upcoming game at Hawaii. I don't really think they have much of a chance to win it, but we'll see. There are also some other big news here for Fresno State's men's basketball, which is the other revenue sport. Oh, it has been at Fresno State for a long time. The final Mountain West schedule for the Bulldogs has been released, along with the out-of-conference games, so I will just list them briefly and give you my initial thoughts. Out-of-conference starts your home opener against another school in Fresno Pacific. I believe that's an exhibition game for them. Doesn't count for the Firebirds. Does for the Bulldogs. Not a bad way to open. This is a really big brother, little brother thing. The two are in completely different realms in terms of where they are as universities and schools. But, it's a nice little thing. Get a few extra people in the seats from Fresno Pacific, like for players, parents, and so forth. Should be an easy win. USC Upstate, I think that's in South Carolina. That's now at home on November 5th. Should be a win. So the Bulldogs should be 2-0 on November 8th when they face Long Beach State. They should have lost that game last year at the Dirtbags, the 49ers. They blew it, and that was the game that gave you a lot of false hope for the season, if you're a Fresno State fan, but it didn't, so we'll see how they look again. But if they want to be a good team this year, they beat Long Beach State. Then they host UC San Diego. Again, that's another team they have to beat if you want to give you hope for the out-conference season. Then November 15th, Utah Valley. November 18th versus Stephen F. Austin. November 21st against New Orleans. You see what I'm seeing here. They start the first 7 games at home. You got to be like 5-2 at least with that kind of schedule coming in out of that, all right? This is not a particularly tough start to non-conference schedule. Doesn't mean a lot of people are going to show up. There's no real names on here except maybe, might have some away fans like Long Beach State or San Diego, but you've got to come out of this looking good. Because after that, you face Pepperdine, I think in Palm Springs, a neutral site game. That could be tough. Then you host, that game will be on 26th of November. Then on the 30th, you host Cal State Bakersfield. Now that's a game, when it's not football, Cal State Bakersfield competes with Fresno State in baseball and all the other non-revenue-generating sports. It's always a big deal for them to play the Bulldogs. They know they'll be up. They'll have some supporters. But again, that's a team you need to beat if you advance Wahlberg. You have to. You have to. This non-conference slate is about giving you hope for the conference. They'll go to Arkansas in Little Rock, the Razorbacks on December 6th against John Calipari. He's a good friend of Wahlberg. Just talk of him, maybe having a home with him. That'd be a big deal, but that's going to be a loss in all likelihood against the Razorbacks. Then December 10th, they are on the road at Northridge to face CSUN. So from November 3rd to November 10th, you got to be like, I don't know, have 8 wins out of that. 8 wins, 9 wins out of that really give you hope and not be set back. Start of the year. All right. Before you go into conference, and this is where it gets tricky. November 20th, you're at UNLV. Then you get 10 days off. You host Utah State. So you start the year off on the road at a team you leave behind, and then you're facing a team at home that you're joining the pack, and you can easily be 0-2. If they got 2-0 out of that would be really hopeful because Utah State's usually pretty good. Then you face Nevada for the last time at home on January 3rd, and you go to San Jose State for the last time as conference mates on January 6th. You hope to get 1 win out of that, right? Then things get really tough because then you go to the San Diego State on the 10th. That's probably a loss. Again, if Vance could get a win out of that would help him a lot. Then he hosts Colorado State on the 13th, and Wyoming comes in at the 17th. Gotta get at least 1 win out of that. Then you go to New Mexico. That's probably a loss, but who knows with the new coach they have there. On the 20th, then the 24th, you hold temporary conference mate Grand Canyon. Now, it'll be very interesting. They were a good program in the WAC, but who knows what they'll look like in the Mountain West. And that'll be very, very interesting when you have them. Then you go to Air Force on the 31st of January. That has to be a win. All right. Then you have to go, you host UNLV again. At home, UNLV is really nothing special lately, so that has to be a win. Then you go to Nevada and Utah State on the February 7th and 10th. Those are both probably losses, if we're being realistic. Then we host Air Force. You have Air Force at home. That's got to be a win. Then you go to on the 14th. Then on the 17th, you go to Wyoming. That's a tough place to play, but altered. But again, if you are a good team in the Mountain West, which is what Vance wants to be, if you want to show that Vance wants to show he wants to be the coach in the pack next season, you have to win at Wyoming. You also have to win when you host New Mexico on the 21st, all right? And then 24th, you go to Colorado State. Then you finish off your home slate against Boise and San Jose State on the February 28th and March the 3rd. You have to at least beat San Jose State. And you should beat Boise State as well. Again, this is all about not necessarily winning the Mountain West for Vance. It's about giving your program hope, all right? And then you finish on the 7th at Grand Canyon. So if you're a Bulldog fan in Arizona, you got a chance to see them live, go do it, all right? Then the Mountain West Championship is from March 11th through 14th. All right, so with that schedule I just gave you, what should the Bulldogs be? The Bulldogs, if Vance wants to move along, he's got to be... He has to show progress. He has to beat teams like San Jose State twice. He's got to get some road wins at places like New Mexico, UNLV, maybe somewhere at Utah State or San Diego State. You got to win against your future conference foes. You have to. And you got to beat the teams you leave behind, have a win record against it. You know, the Air Forces, the Wyoming, San Jose State. You got to win against all of them. All right? The only basketball team that is formidable that's been left behind are New Mexico, Nevada, and Grand Canyon, depending on what you might get. When the basketball season starts closer, I'll go into more an analyst, but that's the schedule. We'll see how they look. Basketball team has to be successful. You can't be an anchor for the conference, but we'll see how that goes starting this year. But for now, football team is 3-1. That's a good start to the season. We'll see how they do against Hawaii. Go Dogs.